Uzskatīsim, ka pusdienas pārtraukums ir beidzies. Будем считать, что обеденный перерыв закончился.
Those who are still eating might be negotiating something at the lunch table, and hopefully they will join us. So let us continue with your kind permission. And as promised, the floor is given now to the director of Alois Starkelsen, Mr. Jānis Garančs.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the organizers for this opportunity to introduce you to our enterprise. I am here representing also the Association of Biological Farming in Latvia, and this will be a practical example of how Sapropel and other biological fertilizers can be used for our farming. First of all, I will tell you about Alois Starkelsen. This is an enterprise who started working in Latvia in 1937, and we started to produce potato starch at the beginning of the 80s. In 1991, when Latvia gained its independence, the first joint enterprise, Alois Starkelsen, were founded. In 2008, we started producing potato starch from biologically farmed potatoes. Alois Starkelsen lies in the very north of Latvia, on the border with Estonia, and this joint enterprise is made together with Swedish enterprise located in the south of Sweden. This is diversion from conventional reproduction to biological reproduction. So we are reproducing biological and conventional potatoes. But this switch over gave us a very big push, because from the second smallest potato starch producer, we have grown into the third biggest potato starch producer in the world. And this is thanks to the fact that in Latvia, biological farming, organic farming is very, very developed. At the moment, more than 12% of total arable land is dedicated to biological farming or organically certified farming. And every year, the amount grows by 6 to 8%. The lands, biological lands, grow by 6 to 8%. The average in Europe is 4 to 8%. So I have to admit that we have far better results than average. Also, average farm is much bigger than average conventional farm in Latvia. Why? It's because organic farms are very business-oriented and development-oriented. If we have a look at the average farm, I have to say that most of them are family farms from 20 to 100 hectares. In the world, they would be considered micro farms, but in Europe, where all agriculture is more family-orientated, this figure is very, very good for Latvia and a very good potential for growth. In parallel to farming, we have to say that in Latvia, the reproduction enterprises are growing. Farm-produce reproduction organizations. If we return to potatoes, for organic potatoes, there are many advantages in Latvia for growing organic potatoes. We are far north of Europe, and we have a very, very short season from May to September, but at the same time, that would be considered a minus, but for starch potato, it turns into a benefit, because in Latvia, the daylight hours are rather long, about 20 hours per day. So we have this solar energy, and average starch content is bigger than average in Europe. And this short season and severe winter helps us to avoid all kinds of potato diseases. Here you can see how we have developed during last 5-6 years, especially speaking about production of organic potatoes in Latvia. In the Baltics, we are the only producers of potato starch. I've also mentioned that potato starch is produced from organic and conventionally grown potatoes. Organic potatoes are being more and more used for organic starch production. And here you can see the average amounts and also the amount of farmers producing organic potatoes, as well as overall yield of potato by year. In the future, we plan not to increase the number of farms and farmers, but at the same, more to concentrate on the average yield of potato. We do encounter some problems because for organic farms at the moment the biggest problem is organic fertilizer that is not sufficient, and I would not reveal a secret if I'm saying that yield is the driving force for a successful organic farm, isn't it? Not only for potatoes, but also for other farm products. If I return to starch, then I have to say that potatoes are reproduced mechanically. They are They are cut into pieces, and then we divide juice. The process involves lots of byproduce. From 10 tons of potato, we get 2 tons of starch and 8 tons of byproduct. To remain our production sustainable, we do spend a lot of energy for reproduction of this byproduct. The juice is used for energy, also as a fertilizer, potato juice, and the pulp is also used for that. Namely, we form a circle where potato pulp returns to soil by means of compost, by means of fertilizer. But it's not enough. That's why Alois Starkelsen, we built another another plant where we reuse this pulp, where we produce a fertilizer from our potato pulp or byproduct. Here are some facts about Alois Starkelsen. Our turnover is about 6 million euro. We have more than 50 employees, and most of our production is being exported, more than 80%. And we produce not only industrial product but also consumer products. And at the end, I would like to say that we are very, very interested in cooperation with you. We would like to use Sapropel in our fields in order to increase potato yield in our fields. That's why I hope we'll have a good cooperation in the future. Thank you. And this last sentence is the core sentence, I believe, for everyone, because very often there are problems where people are trying to keep secrets, then successful producers are keeping secrets, but here you just said that you are ready to use Sapropel and to tell about it to your partners and to the rest of the world.
So let us come back to our post-Soviet area, and now I would like to give the floor to Dmitry Vladimirovich Shipitsyn, Director General of Enterprise Group Sibirskaya Organika from Omsk in Russia. Dear ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank you for my opportunity to report at the conference. I would like to express my gratitude to organizers of the conference that my colleagues and I managed to communicate with each other and exchange our experience. I represent a group of enterprises Sibirskaya Organika, and our scientific team of the Institute of Medicine, Institute or College of Medicine, Veterinary, etc. And we have our common ad hoc group that is working and operating in the fields of different scientific research.
Нет, все оттаяло. Замечательно. То есть в начале своего выступления хотелось бы...
I'm sorry, at the beginning of my report I would like to look back at past, when Sapropel industry, which exists nowadays, was established. I think that it's not too ambitious term for that. So Sapropel committee was established at the Academy of Sciences of Russia. Then experimental pilot station was established in 30s of the previous century. All the materials were provided to the Sapropel Institute with the Academy of Science, as the main direction was devoted to search of carbohydrates. These fields of carbon and carbohydrates were available in Siberia. Therefore, during the course of operation of our scientific teams, different oil and different ointments, etc. were established and drafted. So the Sapropel was used for different industries. And after the World War II, extraction and application of Sapropel in different fields was re-established after the war, and it was quite popular among the Soviet states. In Omsk, we turned back to development of Sapropel in 90s. In Omsk, there were about 50 companies starting extraction of Sapropel at that time, but unfortunately we are the only left and operating. we started processing of sapropel instead of direct application of sapropel as organic fertilizer. Due to our logistic and transportation scheme of our enterprise group was quite complex, so we started merchandising and commercializing products of the second or third processing stage. Total stocks of sapropel in Russia, which are studied and researched, constitute about 92 billion tons. In Western Siberia, these are 92 billion tons available. On the map you can see that quite a lot of lakes are deployed in the northern region. Therefore, we operate our extraction fields closer to that region. You can see a scheme developed by our company for extraction of sapropel. So you can see that influence can be made in two options: thermal or chemical processing. Currently, we have taken over oxidation, hydrolation, and also coaxing on laboratory equipment. Super exotic gas influence is appropriated, but this technology is really expensive and is only tested on in laboratory conditions. Although these pilot or prototype products are developed. When technological progress will be provided and when this equipment or machinery will become cheaper, perhaps this technology will be taken over by our company as well. You can see also a scheme of sapropel processing. More detailed scheme is available when conference materials will be published online or in printed format. We have studied about 20 lakes and mapped. Also, they are ranked according to the content of different trace minerals and organic matters. Our conclusion was that on the territory, different sorts or types of sapropel are present depending on the final product we would like to develop. Therefore, different lakes and different places could be used. And content of organic matters also is different in different lakes and locations. Application of sapropel processing products in veterinary, we work here in 4 directions: development of national feed supplements, development of different chemical preparations and medicine, veterinary medicine. It is important that when processing the products, we draft technological implementation of these products on farms. As it's really hard to transfer or take over, perhaps some modernization or updating of the farm itself is needed before sapropel products could be used. Our pilot prototypes of our products, we have received Sapropel limitant, which substitutes Vishnevsky ointment, sapropel oil, sapropel containing fluids used quite widely in cosmetics. So, treatment results with positive effect for psoriasis treatment. And here results for treating different stages or different levels of burns was provided. Extract sapropel extract for stimulating growth for calves and swine. So we also use this ointment for teats of cows after giving birth, and calving, and no synthetic or artificial materials should be used. Sorbent meant for polymer organic matter with oil absorbing capacity, but this sapropel sorbent is competitive alongside with French or European origin products, polymers for oil smear collection on waters. Carbon sorbent, according to standard 22164, it is tested as catalyst. I'm sorry? It is tested as matrix of catalyzer application on surfaces. Tests are made as matrix of veterinary preparation. Butylene, as butylene or botulin itself is toxic when it is applied on matrix and provided to animals, positive effect is reached. So, carbon sorbent or microstructure of this sorbent under microscope is provided on pictures. That allowed us concluding about summary dimensions of pores. These are quite different, but it's important to remember that silica included in the sapropel is of organic origin. That is also important for medicine if it is used as a carrying agent for different medical medicine and medical active agents. In veterinary, sapropel or the sorbent is used as 100% clean material, contains different nutrients and proteins. Lawn or green grass for lawns is grown at special nurseries, and time of germination and application of mineral vitamins and mineral fertilizers is decreased. Raw sapropel is used to replace birch tar, and benzopyrene was already mentioned today. Content of benzopyrene in birch tar is higher than in sapropel-based tar. Thank you for your attention.
Спасибо.
Thank you very much. I don't know how everybody else was responding, but I'm really quite envious about how you're experimenting and testing so many things, so many different things. Now I would like to give the floor to Evgeny Lukashenko, Doctor of Engineering Sciences, Chairperson of the board at Lat Invest and Lat Saprox Limited.
Пожалуйста.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, I am really pleased that such a conference or forum was convened and so many regions are represented. First of all, I would like to tell that I'm dealing with this topic. 3 years ago, it was more like hobby, not business, but everything done here and achieved in the field was done by our own forces at our bases, where my main business was located, and combination or joining or merging two businesses together. The first problem was to solve the problem of sapropel excavation or extraction. So I chose the second option of sapropel mining, so not vertical from bottom up. 6.5 meter deep, so this pump is drilled inside, and if here small holes are made in 6 months, it was filled up again in 6 months' time. So testing Sapropel as organic fertilizer, we had our. So here it's you see that this is coming up and sucked out from the bottom of the lake. So there have been different types of the sapropel and placed it in tanks, in pipes, but I really prefer extraction of sapropel in winter season for moderate quantities or moderate volumes for medical or cosmetic purposes. And we have achieved the first results recently. I'd like to mention that research of the hydration process was closely studied in Moscow, and we visited Minsk once as well. These are quite complex methods without application or influence of any other substance. We also choose a way for a combination of peat moss and sapropel. We produced granules or granulated peat and sapropel mix. Currently, we cooperate. We had an agreement with 2 lakes. We have 2 licenses for extraction of sapropel at 2 different places. Currently, research of our sapropel applied in medical cases also is delivered to Yantarny Bereg, which is sanatorium of the President of Russian Federation, where the application of therapeutic mud is possible and available. We also have our spa salon in the center of Riga at Veselības centers 4, where we provide cosmetic procedures and different manipulations with the use of our sapropel.
So what are the challenges we are presently faced with? First and foremost, you have spoken about siliceous sapropel. But here in Latvia, it's very difficult to define the content of silica or calcareous compounds in our sapropel, neither here nor in Lithuania. So to develop further and taking into account what has already been taken, that sapropel differs immensely as far as its the depth of the deposit is concerned, the depth of the layer, etc. There are places where they lack sapropel at all, and the quality of sapropel differs dramatically as to its content. And to understand all this, we need a well-developed base for laboratory research. Of course, that research and analytical base is available in Minsk and Warsaw, but it all means a solution of logistical problems, which are really very costly. And we have here in the audience owners of several Latgali lakes. So for them to know, in order to carry out all the necessary research, they would need tens of thousands or maybe even hundreds of thousands of euros so that the research is full-fledged and reliable and encompassed everything from geography to chemistry. So if we don't set up some joint enterprises, we need to secure co-financing. If we don't set up joint ventures, we wouldn't succeed. I think that joint enterprises would benefit us all. And if we set up something here in Latvia, we need to do it in such a way that we only pay for the services by our personnel, and the rest should be financed from the outside, because without the in-depth research, and you are all aware of that, we will not move forward. As to our present-day topic, we have mostly talked about fertilizers. There will be presentations on cosmetic applications. But if we talk about Sapropel only as a fertilizing agent, I would say that about 40 to 50% of Latgalian Sapropel would be good for fertilizers, but there are still 50, 60 more deposits containing Sapropel, which is rich in minerals and could be a wonderful substance to be used in cosmetics. So I have shown you the slides of what I have managed to achieve, and that's it in a nutshell. I would like to thank you all for your attention, and I would like to specifically thank the moderator and organizer. And now the floor is given to Huzinu Radisu Ravilovichu, who is board member of the Kamskiy Sapropel enterprise from the Tatarstan Republic. Dear organizers of the conference, I would like to express my deepest gratitude for the invitation to the forum. My name is Huzin Radis Ravilovich, and in the present forum I represent the board of our holding, consisting of several companies. The first one is dealing with the extraction, and the other company called Kamskiy Sapropel processes it. The first company, named Chulman, was founded in 2004, and the second one in 2006, to carry out approbation of innovative products on a Sapropel basis. Here in the slide you see the site where we extract Sapropel with the help of a floating crane. So we load it on a barge, and daily we extract about 2,500 tons. And 2,500 tons. And we have a separate port to unload Sapropel, to further move it to so-called checks, where it is supposed to be frozen. We need to freeze Sapropel so that to dehydrate it. After freezing, only 50 to 60% of all humidity is left in the matter, and our Sapropel becomes unsolidated and good for processing. After that, we use the finish scoop, which enables us to separate Sapropel, excluding larger particles, and it has a very good capacity of sieving 4 cubic meters of Sapropel within 15 seconds. Further on, Sapropel is taken to an enterprise where we dry it up in a long drum, and the production capacity of the drum is up to 6 tons per hour. And after that, the product is raised up on a conveyor belt to the granulation line, then packed into 50-liter big bags, and for our internal purposes into 30-liter bags. I would also like to add that As a matter of fact, this freezing technology differs dramatically from what we saw here at Sapropel processing plant. So at the output, our Sapropel retains only up to 3 to 4% of humidity, and as to its physical and chemical properties, they actually don't change. We can yearly produce of about 3 to 4,000 cubic meters of Sapropel. And as well as previous speakers, I would like to say that Sapropel is used mostly as fertilizer, but we are not sitting idle. We have signed contracts with 4 institutes: the Institute for Cattle Breeding in Tatarstan, which is led by academician Shakirov. We have already developed a plan for our testing works. We finance the research to work out new products on Sapropel basis. Apart from that, we cooperate with the Kazan Veterinary Medicine Institute, where they approbate various applications of Sapropel in cattle breeding. We have very good connections with Bashkiria University and the institute dealing with poultry breeding, geese and ducks. And they also use our products as far as fertilizers are concerned. We have signed an agreement with the Russian Institute for Amelioration, and head of that institute has tried our products in various countries, and she worked out a new generation of fertilizer making use of our Sapropel. Our Sapropel belongs to mineral Sapropels because the organic components comprise only 26% of the whole composition. And our mineral Sapropel differs from the Sapropel we were shown here yesterday. What can we say about this product? We consider this product to be extremely valuable as a fertilizer, since it has a very high absorbent properties, and it can be used in all soils for all kinds of plants. On the basis of this product, we have registered and received an international certificate approved by the European agricultural bodies, competent bodies in the USA and Japan. Why do we need such a certificate? Well, if we want to participate in some projects, we can immediately produce a certificate to prove our worth. And we are now closely cooperating with Russia, delivering our Sapropel abroad. Yes, we used to face problems with the customs, because the customs service didn't used to know what documents are needed when you export Sapropel, but we've managed to secure all necessary documentation, so everything is in order now. The next thing I would like to share with you is the following. What I have said already, the fact that we are cooperating with our scientific research institute enabled us to use Sapropel in a different sphere. We have worked out a program aimed at the production of biologically pure fodder additives. The thing is that one of the main reserves to reduce the amount of grain products in fodder is the product which we are currently developing. So we're faced with that issue in Tatarstan, and presently the share of concentrates which we are producing is growing in fodder production industry. When we started developing this product, the additives, we realized that our Sapropel could become an ingredient of a very good and very effective concentrate capable of real competition with foreign analogues, and our ambition was to secure even better quality of our concentrate, which we have been working on. And that is why we last year made a decision to build a new plant for the processing and production of biological mineral concentrates. It is one of bigger lines we have set up, but we do not restrict ourselves with that. We have also built up a line for the production of complex fertilizers and a line for the filler, an energy filler. So that is a product which is at the basis of pre-mixes production. And bran now is being used, and lime. But Sapropel can be also used. Our Sapropel is rich in amino, fulvic and other acids, lots of vitamins, and that is why we offered the producers of premixes to use our product as an important additive. And the product was approved, and the only condition was not to exceed the humidity of 4% in our Sapropel additive. Otherwise, it would create problems for the producers of premixes. And nowadays, you probably know that premixes are being produced in great quantities, and those plants we are currently negotiating with have really got interested in our product. And it would make the premixes more competitive. And while producing our own concentrate, we use from 40 to 60% of our own Sapropel as energy additive, energy filler. What else should be said? Here you see the schemes, how we tested our SAPRO mix. We carried out real large-scale tests, and you may see that the milking grows by 13%, up to 10%. Up to 10% young bulls gain in biomass. So all this has convinced us that Sapropel has got a very bright future, and 10 months ago we started building up a bigger plant for the production of Sapropel containing products. As I have already said, we have 3 lines, one line for the production of amino products, concentrates. The second line is meant for the production of fertilizers, about 5 tons per hour. It's a complex fertilizer making use of peat and other ingredients to increase the pH. And the third line is meant for the production of energy fillers. So our processing capacity is very high indeed, and we are ready, and we will continue to grow. That is our main building, main edifice, where we are now mounting high-tech equipment. We have selected the cutting-edge equipment because when you are launching a new project like a new production plant, you have to deal with the state-of-the-art equipment so that it can be still new enough in 10 years from now. We followed the example of such companies as BCL, producing high-tech premixes. We have adopted their technologies and methods. Here you see the assembly of our equipment. We have practically received all the blocks. The only problem is that we didn't envisage the assembly of this line would be that cumbersome and painstaking, but we are sure we will overcome all the hurdles. Another problem which we were faced with is the fact that there are no plants working with Sapropel, and we have no role model, so to say. That is why, while building up our technological lines, we had to proceed through testing and errors. We had to change things on the spot, and there were difficulties to overcome. But nowadays, everything is following in accordance with the plan, and the main nodes are already in place. We just have to connect power and just launch the whole project. The cost of the project, the total for today, is about 230 million rubles. But of course, we cannot envisage all different unexpected moments. But we still hope we would still manage to remain within the assets given to us by our founders.
If you have any questions, or if you are willing to discuss any proposals, we are leaving only tomorrow in afternoon. Therefore, we are really open and transparent for any negotiations, any proposals of cooperation, and also this is ready production warehouse and administration building according to European building standards. Now, I would like to thank you very much for yesterday's excursion. It was really interesting to visit your factory or plant. Secondly, I would like to thank you, the organizers of the conference. We are located on the forum of such scale for the first time only, but we are really pleased that so many experts and representatives. Mr. Hadhi from Jordan, from Omsk, have come. We are already introduced, acquainted to each other, and I would like that we would cooperate jointly, join our efforts. In the future, we have heard a lot of good news today, and I think that Sapropel, we all together could develop Sapropel as an excellent product and will become thanked and rich and benefited from our cooperation. Thank you. Thank you very much. You mentioned that if somebody has any proposal, would you invite us to opening ceremony of your plant? Yes, of course. Of course, it's a joke from one side and a serious matter from second side. And now I would like to give the floor to Aivars Mežals, member of the board of Lat Power Limited, with the topic Sapropel in Latvia, extraction, processing and perspectives of future processing and products on the basis of Sapropel.
Labdien, cienījamās dāmas un kungi!
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to be here with you today. I would like to introduce you to our only producer of Sapropel in the Baltics. Shortly about our company, or about SAPRO product line, about usage and advantages of our product, as well as the current development and our vision into the future. But before that, I would like to tell you about Sapropel. I believe that there are no one amongst us who is not personally acquainted with Sapropel, and that's why I wanted to remind to those who are not acquainted with it, it's not sludge, it is organic layer that has been forming for tens of thousands of years on the bottom of our lakes. And they can differ from one Sapropel to others significantly. But Sapropel can be found everywhere in the world, but the best Sapropel is the one that could be found in the zone of continental climate. You can see it in the map. Light blue area on the map. It's the best quality, highest quality Sapropel, containing 75% of Sapropel sludge. And this Sapropel is used by our company for producing our products. What we are doing, we are working in two companies, Uniorganic and Lat Power. Those companies were founded in 2009 and 2010. Every company do have to have a mission and a vision. Our mission in this time of urbanization, we have to give farmers organic fertilizer to use for conventional and organic farming. As a result, we will improve food on the tables and our health as well. Our vision, we want to become the first choice for choosing a natural agricultural soil fertilizer. We want to improve all our activities in order to provide best products through our key brands.
Mūsu ražotne ievēro visaugstākos standartus gan ražošanā, gan arī vides aizsardzībā.
Observe the highest standards for nature protection and other standards. And I would like to mention only one fact, you can find us. You can find us in National Park of Razna, and that speaks for itself, this fact. And our products are, at the moment, two SAPRO AGRO. That's a mixture of peat and Sapropel as a concentrate for soil fertilizer, and SAPRO ELIXIR that is very balanced Sapropel concentrate for watering the plants, containing those minerals. Our capacity of our manufacturing are the following. As you can see from this picture, are the following, but we have done everything to increase our production twice. At the moment, it's about 20 tons per hour. And here you can see the picture of our plant. Yesterday you had an opportunity to visit our Sapropel plant, and some people were asking us, isn't it a recreation center? No, it's a production line working and observing the highest standards. And here you can see really the production line, the photos of our production line. SAPRO AGRO and SAPRO ELIXIR contains all table of chemicals, almost all of it. Everything that is very vital and necessary for us, for our health, or for our future, but later on you can just read all those chemicals by yourselves when receiving the presentation. We have achieved excellent results by applying our products on in very soils and very sandy soils, and these results have been achieved together with our partners here in Latvia, and not only in Latvia but also in some other places. For example, Jordan, and Mr. Fatki is here to approve that. Here you can see some results from tomato farms in Latvia, also potato fields, as well as pictures from the results from Jordan, and I believe there will be a whole story dedicated to that.
There
is a vast list of advantages on the next following slides. And again, to read those many lines, you will have to have a look at the presentation. But I have to mention the following. We are the only company who is extracting Sapropel, keeping its natural moisture, and our company is constantly working with scientists and laboratories, not only in Latvia but also in Europe and in the world. Those are the themes that I wanted to say about our development, but there are many more advantages that you can have a look at later on. But you all do have a possibility to visit us or to write to us to emails that you can see on the screen, or our partners around the world. And now I'll give the floor to my colleague Jānis Zoltāns for the following presentation. Thank you. Hello, my name is Jānis Zeltans, and I would like to tell you about the Sahara Forest Project. That's a Norwegian project, for improvement of which we have been participating heavily. I would like, first of all, to tell you what is this product, what are our mistakes that we have acknowledged, and how we can improve the project, and later on the possibilities for application of the project. You do know that there are many countries in the world who are importing about 90% of their food. Mainly those are the countries that lie in extremely climatic areas where there are very poor conditions for growing food. And at the moment there is a project named Sahara Forest Project, and this project aims for developing the abilities of the soil in those areas. There are some drawbacks for this project as well, but we have to first of all acknowledge those mistakes and drawbacks, and later on to work with them. We do work on soil. We work on the existing technologies. We use technologies that help to withdraw salt from the soil, as well as using additional substances that can keep moisture into the soil by desalinating it and fertilizing it. Here you can see the picture from Qatar, Sahara Forest Project. First of all, you can see the mirrors of this desalinating plants. But number 3, you can see the plants being grown. And number 4, that is a solar panel. 5, salt production line. And then halofeed production and algae production line. Here, the project's been made by mimicking a natural circle of life, if you want to say so. The main driving force for this project is salt water and solar energy. There are some mistakes that I have mentioned before, but we cannot use this project, apply this project far from the sea, in the middle of the desert, for example. And if one of the components don't work properly, the whole system might not work and will not work. And the main innovation is the integration of new technologies. Many technologies are used around the world, or they are located separately, but in this combination they have never been used before. Those technologies that are used in Sahara Technologies projects can be used in desert areas and very, very dry areas, but the main precondition is to have access to salt water, but not all the places, deserts, have access to salt water. And that's why we use soil fertilizers produced in Norway, thus helping to improve the quality of soil. But they are not extremely clean and clear. They might cause some danger for human health. So we understand that we cannot use this project, Sahara Forest Project, everywhere, but we can pile the positives, the benefits from this project to apply some new technologies, and by improving them, we can apply them somewhere else. For example, geothermal cooling system that might replace salt water. The same is used in Sahara. Also, solar panels can be used. And the most important here in this conference, we can say that Sapropel can substitute artificial fertilizers. This cooling system, here you can see it, absorbs the heat and transforms it into humidity. And those systems are very efficient, energy efficient. That's why they are very easily combinable with solar panels and solar energies. The second thing to mention is concentrate that forms from solar panels. Those mirrors observe solar energy, thus produce steam and concentrate, and transforming this energy into turbine that produces energy again. And the third component is using Sapropel fertilizer, which is much better than artificial fertilizers. In Sapropel, you cannot find food seeds, and contrary to, for example, common fertilizer, common dung. So there will not be alien species that would come from natural fertilizer. And at the end, the soil is very, very rich in enzymes and other elements that are vital for growing plants. And Sapropel is decomposing more efficiently thanks to those enzymes that are in Sapropel. And Sapropel can revive so-called dead soil. That means to ensure all the functions for the soil that's producing humus substances, whereas natural fertilizers and artificial fertilizers can damage, for example, the water or damage the environment around the plant. What are the possibilities for these projects? For example, these projects can be established everywhere in the world, especially where there are no possibilities to farm. These places, most of all, get second-class products from rich countries. Very, very soon there will be similar constructions provided for in Africa using traditional, conventional and special organic building materials, thus resulting in the best food product line available. This product has already been approved, and this product will result in a resort where people can come for improving their health, but at the same time this plant will be self-sustainable, and the food for the resort will be grown locally using the byproduct of the whole cycle. If you are interested in cooperation with us or in anything that I've mentioned, here are my contacts. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, you were introduced only by Jānis Zaltāns, and I have here written that you are representing the University of Latvia, Faculty of Economics. Are you a student? Yes, I'm a student. Those projects are student projects. Yes, this is my bachelor paper. Very, very good. And it's actually a real project. It's not just on the paper. Very, very good. If you will not work with real things, then you'll just be someone who writes yet another impossible story on the paper, good for nothing at the end. But you've done a very, very good job, especially if it has practical roots. And now I'll give the floor to Anita Ilzāne.
Lifestyle Alliance Group. Laikam tas būs par kaut ko interesantu, sievišķīgu. Lūdzu.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We decided to talk together so that you don't have to present us in turn. My name is Anita Ilzāne and my name is Baiba Gailīte, and we work in a team. My experience in business is longer than 20 years. I work in finances and real estate. I worked in business for almost 20 years in trade and marketing. So what we heard today, basically, and what are the emphasis of today? It's agriculture, and yet 50% of us are women on this earth, and out of these 50%, more than 90 women use cosmetics, and global marketing cosmetics grows by 15% every year. And nowadays almost 10% of men use cosmetics. If I carried out an inquiry here today, I think we would see more than 10%. So that is why I will talk about the industry of cosmetics, where sapropel is one excellent ingredient. This is how we see sapropel. You know how it looks in nature, don't you? So, in essence, we are talking about sapropel in the framework of agriculture. We had some special effects in this presentation, but they seem to have failed. So, in essence, as I was saying, let's go back one slide. She's from marketing, she's better at presenting these things. So, we talked about agriculture, we are great experts in agriculture and sapropel, but for us, we entered the market of sapropel 18 months ago, and our main idea was to go into the market of agriculture. With our experience in sales, we knew what we will sell, but we understood that the science will take another 20 years for this to work. So we know that sapropel is also of use in creative industries, in construction, in decorative finishing, but we will not talk about this either. We will talk about cosmetics. So, if we look at the global market of cosmetics, here you can see a list of the main products in cosmetics and the percentage of their turnover in global market. And in each of these fields, sapropel has a use. It can be used as an ingredient in all these products. In this slide, you will have this along with all the other presentation. So you can see the age groups of cosmetics users. So it's the age of us to 35 to 45 years. We know very well what people of our age want. On the next slide, we have the top 10 producers and sellers of cosmetics and the head-spinning amounts that they sell. These are billions. from $155 billion that are currently the global industry in cosmetics, almost 27% are left to other companies. 27% from 150 billion. So there is a part for us as well. I know that many of you here have thought about this, about cosmetics and Sapropel, that these are very close and very interesting products. A bit about the trends in cosmetics these days. You see, what we use every day and what we know about cosmetics, it's essential at the very start when we start to develop our products. Of course, there are several winners in the market, and these top 10 companies are the ones that are the really big companies that can invest a lot of funds into marketing and R&D, so in their scientific basis. The other winners that we have seen over the last 5 years are very small companies with very innovative solutions, with very complicated solutions. The big companies, they don't have the time to do science, to look at barge sap, to look at Sapropel. This is why these small innovative companies are the ones that will win out in the future in the cosmetics market. And who will lose? Well, it's the middle layer, so it's just as in a joke about the middle temperature in a hospital. So there are plenty of patients in a hospital, those who are dead, those who have 0 degrees, and those who are sick, they have around 40. So is the middle temperature 20 in a hospital? No. We have to look at each patient individually, and we have to look case by case in cosmetics as well. Next, for all of us here, Sapropel is a well-known substance, and we do not need to sell it here. So to continue our successful work to produce and sell and market this product, the product that we are planning to produce, we have to raise the awareness of our society, to show our product to our society. That how we talk about Sapropel at the moment, I think it's not very feminine. We need to look for other ways to approach people, other ways to talk to our potential customers. Although I know that your heart is already belongs to Sapropel, but there is a greater audience that knows nothing about Sapropel. And I hope you are in agreement with me that when they hear that we return to our roots, that we use the world of 10,000 years old, or we use a very fertile and black substance, or this is the art of being natural, and that all our products are of very deep and specific values. For the last year and a half that we have spent working with Sapropel and Sapropel-based products, yes, we can see that this substance has its own kind of magic, and we have to think about how we can find a good balance. Sapropel by itself is excellent by being very simple, but it has to be brought together with appropriate technology so that the result can be put through design and presented as an ancient jewel that we present to our customers. our communication platform for the future for Sapropel and Sapropel-based cosmetics products, this should be as an icon, its own success story, a product made here in Latvia and which is combinable with everything. We combine technology, origin, and benefit to each and every person and to the society in general. This is our sense of Sapropel. It's serenity, fulfillment, and for stars to shine, the darkness is needed. And this is how we see our product. I think we are quite brave, quite bold, because we are talking about a cult of health and youth. We have a great thirst to be excellent, and this is all linked to the speed of our life and how much we suffer from stress in our day-to-day activities. In our product, we will search for clarity, and our drive to be creative will be integrated in our product. On this slide, you can see our contract information. We each work in our own company, but we work together to create this product. After having listened to all the previous presentations on Sapropel, I would like to say, no pain, no gain. So you have to sacrifice something to achieve something, and magic happens. There will be results. Thank you. During the break, we saw advertisement. A young, beautiful woman was covered in sludge, and she comes back even more beautiful. But can you cover an old person like me? Because the young people will be beautiful before and after such treatment anyway. So, thank you. This is definitely a field that deserves your attention. And I think Sapropel is only in its very beginning. I know that there is soap made out of Sapropel, beloved in China. Well, they have to wash that 1.5 billion people. And this is a great market, and you should work to capture it.
And now I would like to give the floor to Dr. Fathi Ovaisi from Jordan. So everybody was really waiting for your presentation. Welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank Organization Committee for their invitation to esteemed conference for Sapropel. Secondly, I would like to mention that we are first company who are entering marketing in Middle East countries. This is mineral organic fertilizers such as Sapropel in Jordan and Middle East countries. Second, please. I would like to mention that we make a lot of testing plantation in Jordan by using different types of Sapropel, such as in the northeast of Jordan and the center of Jordan and along to Jordan River. This is west of Jordan and the south of Jordan. Why we are testing like that in these areas? Because they have different soils and they have different even watering system for irrigation, I mean. As we see here, we have tested different types of sapropel, and these sapropels have different specifications. The more important factor when the farmer he asks for these types of fertilizer, he asking you, what about fulvic acid? What about humic acid? This is more important for them. And we will talk about that, how it's affected. This is material which existed in natural organic fertilizers in the different plantations. Secondly, we will talk about sapropel effect on seedling and effect of sapropel on soil and the plant, such as vegetables and the fruits. Finally, sapropel effect on landscape. As you see here, we get, as I mentioned before, we get different types of sapropel. This is one sapropel, we get it from Belarus, from Tatarstan Republic. We called it Kamskiy, from Kamskiy sapropel company. And you see here, total humic and fulvic acid about 6-7%, humans is 33.3. The more important of this sapropel, which we're getting it from Tatarstan Republic, is it is mineral organic fertilizer. It has organic materials about 24%, and the minerals not less than 10 to 13%. Other type of sapropel, we get it from Belarus Republic. This is Gomel district. We called it AGRO product, soil desecrator. Creator, it means powder. As you see here, the same humic acid and fulvic acid has, and the humans, which is more important, and this is trace elements. From this creator, from this powder, we brought from them activator. Activator, this is a liquid extract, which can be diluted 1 to 1,000 for irrigation water. And as you see here, the humic acid and fulvic acid, it is not less than 80% in dry matter. And total elements, trace elements about 11.75 in dry matter. The third sapropel, we got it from Latvia Republic. This is from a human vet company, SAPRO ELIXIR. SAPRO ELIXIR specifications also, they have humic and fulvic acid about 55%, 54-55%, organic matter not less than 70-73%. This elixir has been produced from SAPRO AGRO, which has the same characteristics. But more important things I would like to concentrate in it. Here, what we did actually, any farmer, any commercial farmer, any agro company who are purchasing fertilizer, they are putting there even NPK and other materials, such as sulfur, ferrum, and others. When we looking for that, we ask this company in order to add to this sapropel to add more NPK. And because of that, you see NPK not less than from 19 to 23%, which is there. SAPRO AGRO, as I mentioned, the same. It has 54% humic acids and organic matters not less than 70-73. As you see, we get these sapropels from three regions, from three places, from Belarus Republic and Tatarstan, and from Latvia Republic. When we are working on the plantations, we have to know what the farmer needs, what this is agro company, what they're asking for. They're always asking for what is the concentration of the nutrients in sapropel, how much organic matters in this sapropel, and this is trace elements such as manganese, magnesium, ferrum, zinc, boron even, it's more important for plantations, and total NPK, humic and fulvic acids. 25 years ago, there is an experiment has done from Belarus Republic for sapropel, and they make it in, they tested it in Egypt. Our colleague from Belarus Academy, they have mentioned the scientific items and scientific details of this work, how it can be done. But I would like to concentrate on here something which is, as you know, semi-desert soil have a low water holding capacity, and has been used for this has been used for testing. Small quantities of humus and nutrients, it was there in this desert. As my colleague from Belarus Academic Science, they mentioned and they showed the full details of plantation which has been conducted in 1989 and 1990 in the Emirates. Also in 1993 in Egypt. And actually what they did over there, they use three types of fertilizers. They use Irish bismuth, and they use the Egyptian compost, and they use Sator, which is sapropel with the peat. You see, this is the desert. It was in Valley Nitron. It is northwest of Cairo, 120 kilometers. And they are mixing 1 to 10 ratio. This is the Sator, which we call it sapropel with peat. The more important thing is they make analysis of soil. The plots which they tested about 60 meters by 130. And they use cabbage and wheat for that. Here you see pH of soil is very high. Even electrical conductivity is the same. CAC, cation exchange capacity, it is very small, which means it is very poor sandy territory. Also, when they are make watering system, this is more important. What they did, we tested the underground water on the depth of 100 meters, and we found it has high pH, electrical conductivity is very high, but it is the salts, it was 405 ppms, which is applicable for watering system. As you see, as I mentioned before, they use the three types of fertilizers. Irish peatmoss they used with minerals even, Egyptian compost with minerals the same, and sapropel, Sator, mix of sapropel with peat without any minerals. As we see here, what we did, we want to see the effect of sapropel on plantation. We make watering system 50% less upon applied our sapropel, which means the watering system was 4 millimeters per day, and watering system for peat moss with minerals was 8 millimeters per day, and the same for Egyptian compost. And upon the harvest, we found that when we are using sapropel, we have 3.7 times more than this is Irish peat moss with minerals, and 1.4 times more than Egyptian compost. This is the results of experiments. The more important thing is here that three crops humus content in the sandy soil was as follows. On plots with mineral fertilizer with peat moss, it was 0.11%. On plots with Egyptian compost with mineral fertilizer, it was 0.3%. But on plots on the ambient, this is a sapropel using, it was 0.61%. This means that annual application of sapropel within 3-5 years, you can increase the humus by 2.5. And this is the materials which are being used in Egypt. This is a moisture 50 to 60, particle size up to 15 millimeters, and pH like that, and total MPK, it was from 2.5 up to 6. And the humic material, it was not less than 23-30%. The more important in Jordan, you know there are different farmers. There is farmer for seedling, and this is farmer who are purchasing seeds and giving to farmer seedling. The farmer seedling, he is preparing the seedling for this farmer. We have made an experiment with this seedling farmer who has about 40 to 60 million seedlings per year. And what we did actually, we want to find optimal conditions when we are taking sapropel and mixed with peat moss. Actually, seedling, how they are doing? Seedling, they are mixing peat moss with perlite and making on the trees, two types of trees. There is a trees which is about 9 seedling, and there's another tree which is 80 to 89 seedling. We tested these all things and we found the optimal conditions by using AGRO from Latin Republic, mixed with 300 peat moss. It was 20 liters agro. If less, it is very bad. If it is more than 20, even it reduces the amount of what we call it, the grow up of the seedling by itself. And with this, we have tested on paper and cucumber. The following figures show the results. As you see, this is the trays of seedlings. This is first using AGRO with peat moss within 20 days. And this one, without using AGRO, within 35 days. The difference between them, 15 days. And you saw that the leaves are very dark green, firstly, and secondly, you will see what's happened after. This is, as you are seeing, left side, this is the trays, this trays within 20 days without our AGRO. As you see here, on the left side, the trays is for seedlings is without our AGRO within 20 days. And the right one within 20 days with AGRO. Optimal conditions, as I mentioned, 20 liters with 300 liters of peat moss. Now you see this is seedling of sweet pepper within 35 days. And this is our sweet pepper within 20 days. What we found? We found that vegetation system and leaves group and root group is more better than that one within 35 days. And you will compare this is with the one which has 20 days. You see this big difference between them actually, as you are seeing. The same we did for cucumber with only peat moss. As you see, it is scattered seedlings, and with our AGRO, you will see it's more difference between this and that, which means that vegetation system root group and leaves group is more higher by using AGRO with peat moss. Actually, we found that AGRO with peat moss, what it's doing? Firstly, speed up the seedling plant. Leaves and root groups and vegetation system is higher by using AGRO. By using AGRO, you can use the seedling for at least 2 weeks to transfer to the plantation field. If you are taking seedling without using our AGRO, you need only 2-3 days to transfer from one side to other side. This is the distance about sometimes for 500 kilometers, and it will be damaged after 3-4 days. But for our seedling, as you see, it keeps up to 2 weeks. This means that the AGRO, it enhances root meristem and activate growing bonds within the seedling. Secondly, enhance mitotic activity during cell division. The third experimental work, tested work, actually we are testing always not in a small scale. We are testing always in high scale, such as agro farmer, he has 600 hectares. Some people have 1,200 hectares and others, you see. As example, one farmer, which we gave him the materials, mineral organic from Kamskiy sapropel and AGRO from Latvia. We gave him, he has about 1,800 greenhouses. And I will talk about this later, what's occurred after that. Here, as you see, we make a landscape in Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, have been conducted all these experiments over there. And we make a plantation of vegetables and fruits, such as tomato, potato, eggplants, cucumber, cabbage, and pumpkins. For fruits, we make peaches, pears, pomegranate, banana, palms. Here, it was in Bahrain. In Bahrain, Royal Court, Bahrain, there is a manager of director of agro department. His name is Engineer Munzar Amira. He worked over there about 20 years. And they brought sapropel from Belarus Republic, and they planted about 2,000 trees like that in desert. And this is the experiments what's happened over there. This is we used for decoration system to see how it's affected sapropel on decoration. And this is there is a restaurant in Jordan. This after decoration. This is grass how it looks. The more important things what we did in 2008, we brought 300 palms from Ras Al Khaimah region, Ras Al Khaimah Emirate. It is far away than Dubai. About 250 kilometers. This is the weight of each palm is about 1.52 tons. We brought it from there. And what we did actually, firstly we make a hole. This hole has a volume 1.5 meters. And then we get a sapropel and we mix it with the desert soil, as you see. We mix it together and we breweted it with the extract of sapropel, breweted it. And what we did actually, we take the whole, first 30 centimeters mixture, second 30 centimeters the same sands, desert, then 30 centimeters the mixture, then 30 centimeters the same until and we planted these trees. These trees from 2008 still until now, we didn't add any minerals, any chemicals, but we irrigated it by what we called it activator. This is extract of sapropel. We irrigated it per 2 weeks, one time. What we found actually after that, you see, this is the plantation. What we did in the plantation. This is the left person is Dr. Abramets, who is the inventor of these materials in sapropel in Belarus Republic. Medium, this is Mr. Munzar Amira, he's engineer and general director of our company in Dubai, Global Landscape Company, and this is me. Then we make an interesting testing. What we did in Dubai, Jabal Ali, there is a salt lake. This salt lake, it has a salty water as seawater. And it has a lot of chemicals. This is rubbish chemicals over there. They're asking us, there's a company, we called it DIB, Dubai Investment Park, who is the chairman of this company is Prime Minister of Emirate, Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. And they're asking us in order to make decoration around this lake and to see how it's affected. And we did it. You see, this is our bounds, and this is the trace for decoration we did around this is the lake. And we found that it is very good resistance to chemicals and to salty water even. And you see, this is the results of plantation. This is me, we make decoration in Jabal Ali, company GRD, this is Indian factory. He asked us to make decoration around his factory. And we used even sapropel with the extract, and you see the difference between this. This is, we sent it to Dominican Republic, and we want to look how it looks for banana plantations, and you see the results, what's happened. What we did actually in Jordan, as I mentioned, in Jordan, we want to see how it affected on different types of vegetables and fruits. Farmer, what he asked us, he cannot buy from us directly. He said to us, let us here make like that. Take you one line for your sapropel and tested it, and then we compare with others. If it's everything okay, then we will go ahead and we buy from you a lot of amount of materials, and we did that. As you see grapes, you see the right side. This is by using our Sapropel, and this is the left, and you see there is difference between them actually. The same we found that even diseases are nematoda, it is decreased by using Sapropel because of the humic acid and fulvic acid for that. You see this grapes without using our Sapropel, and this one by using our Sapropel. And it's the same for grapes. You see tasty and vitamins, and even the volume increased by 20 to 30% of grapes. This is for olives. Actually, what we are doing for the tree, we are making trench first of all, and then we are taking 4 liters of SAPRO AGRO, which has high content of organic materials, and 2 liters of mineral organic from Kamskiy, Sapropel. We are putting over there, and then we make irrigation. After that, when we flowers, upon flowering of these trees, we irrigated it by extract of Sapropel. And then, after the blood, we'll see it, then we are irrigated another time. And when you are making harvest collection, you are irrigated by 2 to 3 times, between them from 3 to weeks, each time you make irrigation. And this we did it for olives, and we did it for, this is olives without Sapropel, and that with Sapropel. You see the difference. Also, as I mentioned before, this is farmer. He has about 340,000 trees of beeches. And he asked us to take, this is the right side to our testing, Sapropel, and the left side without our Sapropel. The same for beers. That without, and this without, and that with. And this is for pomegranate. This is by using our Sapropel, and this is without Sapropel. In Jordan, when they are making plantations of vegetables, they have three types of forms of plantation. They have open field, they have greenhouses field, and they have tunnel fields. This is open field. As you see, this is sweet pepper with our Sapropel. We have tested it, and this is without. The same for pepper with and this is without. This is greenhouses. You see, this is with our Sapropel, and this is without our Sapropel. What we found for beeches, we ask farmer, let us see what's going inside. When he looking inside, he make the hole and he look inside. He found that the roots, as white roots, are growing up there, and he was very happy. Asking how comes? He's saying that all things, which means the vitamins, this is elements and others, it will be going via stem to the tree by itself, and we found that we get good harvest. We get reduction in water about 20 to 30% even. You see, and even I will tell you something. Here I will tell you something. Once the collection of harvest, they took from one side without Sapropel about 12 kilograms. From 16 to 18 kilograms they're getting. And he was surprised of that, and he get from us a lot of containers of this Sapropel materials actually. This is the farming pool, which about this volume 50,000 cubic meter. And you see around it there's plantations. Actually, in northeast of Jordan, 15 years ago, it was desert. But nowadays, 26,000 square kilometers are planted by a lot of vegetables and fruits. And as I mentioned before, there is different types of form of plantation. This is tunnel plantation. What is the meaning tunnel? Tunnel plantation has a length about 100 meters and width about 1 meter. And they have from 120 to 150 plants. And they are covering it by plastic, actually. This is without Sapropel, and this is with our Sapropel. This is mixing SAPRO ELIXIR with irrigation system. I mean, which is are getting from the sapropel in order to make irrigation. SAPRO ELIXIR, what we are doing actually, we are mixing 3 liters of SAPRO ELIXIR with 1 cubic meter when we upon irrigation. And this is the greenhouses. You will see the left one is with our sapropel. Here you have 2,400 plants and the service area about 500 square meters. That one, right one, without our sapropel. And we make irrigation actually for these greenhouses 5 times. First time, as I mentioned before, when upon seedling. Second times upon flowering. Third times when you are seeing the blood. And after that, when you are collecting the harvest, you have to make it 2 to 3 times with a period interval from 2 to 3 weeks. And this is what's been done in Latvia for onion. As mentioned my colleague, this is the left one is sapropel and right one without sapropel. The same done for potatoes. What we did actually, we have a farmer who has 1,200 hectares of potato. And we gave him this. He found one thing which is more important, that nematoda, they have a reduction in nematoda and pesticides even in potato. And they found the increase in potato, it was about from 30 to 35%. If 1 kilogram give you 8 kilograms of potato, they give you from 12 to 13 kilograms, which is a high harvest was by using our sapropel. And this is what's done in Latvia for tomato. This is right one. This is with sapropel and that without sapropel. What we found actually when we are irrigation, we make watering. We found some trees without sapropel. They need water. They need irrigation, and you see it is a crack here. Directly we found this is a crack without our sapropel. With our sapropel, you see there is humidity over there, unwetted. The soil by itself it was wetted. And the same here. Actually, as I mentioned before, the importance of humic and fulvic acid existing in sapropel has the following. First, they can form salts with inorganic trace elements and metal complex to be utilized by soil and plant growth. Secondly, improve water holding capacity of the soil. Thirdly, uncanny growers who apply humic acid and fulvic acid based on natural organic fertilizers, they can get harvest during period of dry weather. And there is an inactivations by using humic acid and fulvic acid, inactivation of pesticides and other organic toxic materials. Also, soil temperature and water evaporation stabilized by humic and fulvic acid. Toxic metallic elements within the soil is influenced by humic and fulvic acid, as an example, mercury, lead, cadmium, and these organic metals complexes become less available for plant uptake. Humic acid and fulvic acid within saline soils aid in the transmutation sodium ion, which decrease the soil salinity. In conclusion, sapropel can be used for different soils, as you see, created soils, depleted soils, and other soils, as you see. And when you are using sapropel, it is recommended for depleted soils and other soils, as you are seeing in the picture there. Thank you for your active listening.
Thank you very much, Jordānija. Tā, mums drusku jāapspriežas, kā tālāk rīkoties.
Now we have to think about how we organize our work. We have one more speaker, a very important speaker, Gins Lanka from the Ministry of Agriculture of Latvia. I think he has a very interesting presentation. And after that, we will have a coffee break. And then that will be the end of our discussions. And if after Mr. Lanka somebody else would like to speak, you will have the time. And discussion among speakers, it will take place here after we have our coffee. Is this okay?
So who understood, who not, so everybody is clear that coffee break will be as planned at 4 p.m.
Mr. Lanka, please. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A bit about myself. I'm Gins Lanka. I work in the Ministry of Agriculture. I am the deputy head of the department that works with plant culture. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to speak in this conference. Another thing, my view is not only the view of a civil servant, because I have also worked in the scientific sphere and also in production. On Sapropel, I think we have heard a lot about Sapropel today, and the definition is unnecessary. What I would like to emphasize is that Sapropel is not only a fertilizer, it is also raw material, and here it is regulated by law on the way that minerals can be extracted from the earth. The reserves of Sapropel in Latvia, in total, Latvia has 3,870 lakes with a total area over 1,000 square kilometers, so 1.5% of the entire area of our country. And our reserves of Sapropel in various sources vary from 730 to 800 million cubic meter, and when I was preparing this presentation, I saw one estimate of 3 billion square cubic meter. The data in my presentation are taken from the National Geological Survey database on minerals and their estimates. This is the body that is responsible for this. And according to their estimate, the sediment layer thickness is from a few centimeters up to 20 meters. We heard a lot about how Sapropel is used. I will focus more on agriculture. So the main types of use is the improvement of soil. Many scientific papers have talked about this. Also as a fertilizer, as a source of vitamins and minerals. And Sapropel can also be used for calcination. I don't know if this is possible in Latvia. So what are the national legislation regulating the circulation of fertilizing substances and Sapropel? So, of course, we have a law on the circulation of fertilizing substances, and I will talk about them later. Also, regulations by the Cabinet of Ministers, the identification of fertilizing substances and rules on their trade. There is a specific order of sampling and certifying for the import and sales and order of payments for fertilizers. Fertilizing law does not I will talk about what it does not apply to. It does not apply to wastewater sludge. There is a specific rules of the Cabinet of Ministers for this, under the competence of the Environmental Ministry. And untreated organic, it does not apply to unprocessed organic fertilizers, including Sapropel. So on Rules 530, Sapropel is defined as an organic fertilizer in Latvia. and in accordance with rules 530, they can be registered in the group mentioned in Annex G as organic fertilizers. And unless I've missed something, in Latvia we have 5 Sapropel fertilizers registered in Latvia. One of those is from Russia, from the company EcoSap, then from Lat Power, the representative of which spoke today, also company Morst Grants, another company Prestige Baltic, and the last one registered a few months ago, conditioner for soil prodigies of nature. This company has registered the aforementioned product. Of course, there are certain EU legislation regulating the circulation of fertilizers. Of course, this is a Council and Parliament Regulation 764/2008, establishing procedures. So the technical regulations in one country could be applied in other countries for legally traded products. On mutual recognition, in other words. So a fertilizer registered in Latvia should be able to be traded all across the EU. But since this is not regulated at the moment in the general EU legislation, each EU member state can impose additional requirements in order to import and sell this specific fertilizer. And guidelines on the application of the mutual recognition regulation and an explanation of how these provisions are to be applied. At the moment, the EU has come forth with the initiative to simplify its fertilizing regulation, and by September 2014, Commission plans to develop a draft regulation including all types, including organic fertilizer, and that means including Sapropel. At the moment, there are 4 working groups with experts from all member states. From Latvia, Mrs. Smirnov is working. She is also there right now. That's why she couldn't take part in this conference. And organic fertilizer, we are talking about the quality, about the nutrients to be declared on the label, the presence of heavy metals, cadmium, chromium, nickel, lead, arsenic substances, also the maximal number of microorganisms, so Salmonella, Escherichia coli, Enterococci bacteria, and the maximum level of physical pollution, so pieces of glass, plastic, or metal, and also some tiny stones and such. To extract and process Sapropel, also in the previous agricultural program from 2013, it was possible to apply for funding for extraction and the production of fertilizer from Sapropel. In the next planning period, from 2014 to 2020, there will be similar support available in the development of agriculture and business, and specifically activity, creation and development of companies, which will still keep the same support fields. But this will be clarified when the Ministry of Cabinet will develop its regulations in the second half of 2014. Taking into account all that was said and thinking about Sapropel use in agriculture, we have to look at its efficiency as a fertilizer. Many presentations talked about its agronomical efficiency. that by using such amount, the yield increases by such an amount. But in none of the presentations I saw the economic efficiency, meaning how much it costs, how much it costs to prepare this fertilizer, how much it costs to apply it, how much of it is needs to be spread on the field, and what is the final result. When I was a student, there was a study on organic fertilizers, and I still remember that the economic cost on manure, if you have to take 3 or 5 kilometers, if you take manure farther than 5 kilometers, then it goes into red, so it's not economically efficient. So we have to think about Sapropel and its impact. The speed of mineralization is very, very slow. If you think that you will apply Sapropel fertilizer and have the effect immediately, it's not true. It works very slowly. That is an effect that we can expect in the future. Impact on plants is very gradual, while for mineral fertilizer it is very fast. But what is important for Sapropel, it has a very significant impact on the soil. It improves the agrophysical properties of the soil, which in comparison with, for example, mineral fertilizer, it improves the use of other fertilizers as well. That would be all from me. Thank you. Thank you. This was very important because you draw good conclusions about all we heard today and gave some answers on how the situation is in Latvia.
Perhaps there anybody else would like to present his or her comments or some introductory speech, as we'll have a roundtable discussion after a coffee break among lecturers, or perhaps you have any questions to speakers of the previous sessions.
So is there anybody who still would like to say something? Or are you all so exhausted? I think we worked very intensively, so it's even difficult for students to sit so long, but we have endured, so thank you very much. And since everyone is still present, I would like to say some words as a conclusion. I think we achieved our goal. We listen to each other. We get to know each other. We saw and heard about a lot of things, how things are done in other countries, how Sapropel is used and for what it is used in other countries. Also from this report you saw that the Sapropel is not used to its full potential right now, and the reasons why it is so. And my strategic view on Sapropel and everything that has to do with it. Yes, of course, I also think about various numbers, how much of it we have. So it varies from several billions to several hundreds of millions, but this is not important. What is important is that we need to know how much of this Sapropel we have and how good a quality it is. We need to know this because we have to think about our future generations. We have to leave something for them.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, perhaps I'm quite bothering in my native language in Latvian, but I can also switch over to Russian again. So many persons have already no headphone. I mentioned that conference achieved its goal and target. We met each other, we felt each other, we introduced and socially mixed. We analyzed how sapropel is extracted and applied. We concluded that not a great part of sapropel potential is used. We see that common effort and united effort is welcome. In the course of discussion, we can consider which format of cooperation or of common joint effort and work could be provided. Personally, I do not have any company limited, etc. I am quite impartial in that field, and my overall goal is assist Latvia, my country, and my position of European Parliament member delegates me in researching and studying which industry would be required instead of our members of parliament dealing with questions like moving one monument to another place, because it's quite disturbing to some social layer of Latvia. But I understand that I conclude that Latvia, unfortunately, hasn't reached that economic growth which was exceeded in Soviet times under Soviet regime. If we do not expand our national economy, many more thousands of our people will leave for Ireland, for United Kingdom, and any other European country where jobs are available. Lakes should be cleaned anyway, therefore extraction of sapropel is one of solutions. So lakes are overgrowing with vegetation, and I think that extraction and sale of sapropel should be beneficial so that lakes would be cleaned and sanated. All the infrastructure should be built so that not reachable by horse but by modern car, so that internet would be available and television would be available, so that thousands of houses would not lack electricity if strong wind occurs in our territory. And for atmosphere and for our globe, for our ecosystem existing in the West, because although industry and manufacturing are quite developed, the tourists would come by cars to recreate for a day, for many. Somebody says short season. Who said that tourists could not stay here in winter, like go for skiing, for skating, sleighing, etc. So we have a lots and lots of active tourists who are going and keen for different winter sports. We have clean nature and organic food products. This is the future of Latvia. I think that Latvia would not return to development of huge manufacturing and production industry as in Soviet times. And so many leaders mentioned that a person should live long to pay all the taxes to the country. I always say to our guests, to our country, and wherever I can present my attitude and my vision, we have to create a strategical development of our country. So 5-year plans were quite criticized in Soviet times by Western countries, but now the European Union follows 7-year planning periods. And it happens that we lack like people also being experts in manufacturing, in finances, etc. They are quite clear about the fact that 3-year planning is just impossible because persons and societies have to think to the future for a 20-30-year planning ahead so that we could develop. But it happens that one political party enters the political arena, destructs the previous regime, etc. So everybody is flooding away afterwards. I disagree with the position and trend followed by our politicians.
Спасибо.
Thank you for your applause. I have been talking not to secure this round of applause. I see Latvia's salvation in new directions. Not only mottos should lead Latvia forward. So everything is getting more and more expensive. Medicine is expensive. They call on our women to give birth to children. I'm talking about our government, but, well, they don't do anything to create incentives for higher birth rate. I used to visit Africa, and I saw such scenes. When you walk the streets, you see lots of barefoot children, from toddlers to teenagers. And we saw the following scene. So when a small boy ran into the store and just snatched a banana, what did the sales assistant do? He just grabbed the boy and hit him against the wall. That's why they need to produce more children. And just take such a phenomenon as begging. Children are begging in the streets. And so in order to raise birth rate, we need to secure the environment. And speaking of the education, which is also one of the prerequisites for the future, I'm really sorry Tilis has suffered. Our ex-minister for education had to resign. I'm not satisfied with the present system at all. When I was a school pupil, my teachers were real great. They were patriots. They shared their experience with us. But now, if we look at the manuals published by our quasi-historians, it is nothing to be surprised at. One of such historians would say that Salaspils concentration camp was the labor camp for labor reforming. And I really was taken aback by that. That is why I organized financing of a big work, translation of a book on Salaspils prisoners into Latvian. And I have already secured agreement on 700,000 circulation to be secured. So all this is life. I have deviated from our immediate topic, but these are political issues which are extremely important, especially in light of the fact that we are going to elect new leadership, and everything depends on who we elect, because otherwise we'll be faced with new disasters. So, until we understand that we have to take care of real things, there will be no improvement. And our conference is just a small step in that direction. Development of Latvian agriculture, development of the environment we live in. And I'm extremely grateful to all of you who have come to Latvia. I'm grateful to those who have shared with us their experience and vision for the future. And we might have failed to address the economic variable of sapropel production, as most rightly Mr. Lanka has mentioned. So the economic aspect is extremely important under capitalism. And for me, business is supposed to be the environment for honest work. And we need to remember that short-term interests should not lead those who lead the country. And I'm being very open with you. While we feed only our bureaucrats, we will not proceed. We will not create a secure future. We have to remember that power is to be with the people, but we have just given it up. But we really need something more optimistic to end our discussion with. So our young women who presented Sapropel in cosmetics, they really managed to create the bright atmosphere. As to me, I am optimistic, and I do believe in the philosophic law that quantity turns into quality. And I think that quantity of new projects, quantity of new ideas will eventually lead to good quality. And I think that during the remaining part of the discussion, which is to be launched after the coffee break, we'll start discussing our further steps. We have prepared a resolution, and we have just received another draft, which seems even better than the one we have previously prepared. That is why during the coffee break you will be given the first resolution draft translated into Russian and into English, and so that you can familiarize yourself with the text of the resolution. And what is noteworthy, the second draft is in tune with the first one in principle, only it is more detailed and more specific. And as soon as we come back to the audience, we'll accept we will accept and endorse the text of the final text of the resolution. And I have just been informed that the CDs with the text of our sessions in all the 3 languages will be available, and you will receive them. The video discs will be available, and we are going to translate all the texts, the latest, the next in the year to come. And thank you. So enjoy your coffee.
Все, приятного кофе пития.